Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Too Much Sarcasm, Wit Schlaw. Today is the first episode being recorded with the insane microphone apparatus, which is really a whole story in and of itself at this point. I explained in this morning's morning shift that the one I got came with a messed up plosive filter, and there's issues that come with that, obviously, and I didn't know how apparent they would be until I recorded, and I noticed a lot of the blowing noises and whatnot that were really ruining the recording. Honestly, it made it really terrible. I did hear it, and that was a no-go. Of course, it was not a good situation. So we scrapped it, and we're just going to use the camera mic stuff. And I rigged up a pop filter using a rubber band and a pop filter from a headset I have, in order to hopefully make it so that this recording will be good enough. Although I'm experimenting a little bit more with the placement, it is also further away from my face, which obviously I was hoping would help with the air issues. Now, of course, that remains to be seen, whether it helps or not, but I am optimistic that it will, although there's also a chance maybe I put it too far away from my face. And in that event, this recording will also get scrapped, but we're learning. We're learning how to handle the microphone, which is good. You know, we got to take things one step at a time and figure out what's going on, right? That's like the whole thing. Now, I also did decide to order plosive filters that are going to work better, that are like correct ones, so they will come hopefully in just a few short days, and we will be good to go. That is the plan. So now that you're caught up with the microphone stuff, in terms of what we were talking about today, it was a lot of the usual. Or not necessarily the usual, it was just things that we've been kind of like contemplating and thinking about. A lot of, again, just building, just working on skills, not thinking of this as a high stakes thing where it has to blow up, or really even paying much attention to views. Just trying to keep it chill is what we're trying to do. And I'm just trying to, we're trying to succeed with that, right? Now, the thing that I've been kind of worried about is the entire, basically no title and black video thing that I got going on. And we haven't figured out the black video issue yet, but we are potentially coming up with some solutions for the other problems. Now, I've had an issue with thinking of titles because a lot of stuff is recorded ahead of time because I'm not posting them live yet. I might at some point, but I kind of think having them about a week behind is a good idea, just in case anything were to come up. I just think it kind of makes sense. Although it's possible someday I might change my mind and start deciding to do them live. I mean, that is completely up to on the table. It's completely on the table. Now, let's get to the meat and potatoes. We have come up with a solution to the problem. I'm going to start what you could essentially call is a new series, and I'm calling the new series TLDR Wit Schlaw. And I guess we're probably going to keep the Wit Schlaw because we're already doing car rides, Wit Schlaw, and there's brand continuity between those two things. But I'm also just thinking in this moment just now, this was not pre-planned. This is a live Schla revelation. We could call it TLDR W/Schla, because the W/ is like with, because we're like abbreviating things. It's a little extra. I think I'm still going to call it TLDR Wit Schlaw. So at the end of the episode, I'm going to attempt to recap everything that happened in a very quick burst. During that burst, the idea is that I will either come up with a title or think of a title. Does that not, that means the same thing. I will either come up with a title or I'm going to say something that will make me, upon listening to it back, go, oh, okay, I'll think of something clever or something to title it with. And it's going to be right at the end, maybe the last minute-ish of the video, right? So I'm not, sorry, it's just really disorienting because this headset thing has like ear hooks like earbuds would have, but my ears are still completely open. So I'm like so used to feeling an earbud in my ear, and I didn't feel one for a split second, and I kind of had a moment of panic. Rewind, what were we talking about? The idea. So yeah, at the end of each episode of Car Rides Wit Schlaw, there's going to be essentially this mini-series called TLDR Wit Schlaw. And what I'm planning on doing is making these little tidbits, a YouTube short that will route you back to the original episode. So I think it will greatly increase the chance of future visibility, because somebody, presumably I'm going to try to talk as fast as possible and be very engaging and high energy and all that short energy. I mean, of course, it's still going to be a black video. Like I said, I did not come up with a solution to the black video conundrum quite yet, but hopefully we're going to get there. And so, yeah, we are figuring things out one step at a time. I guess that is where I'm at with things and figuring it out. Now, I'm not going to rush into this. I don't know how it's really going to work. I'm assuming there may be a period of time where I'm kind of getting the gist of it. And so my goal is, obviously in a best case scenario, we'd have it figured out by this episode onward. But in a worst case scenario, I'm not going to rush anything. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, and that's okay, right? And so I'm thinking that probably by the time we're into like episode 40, I'd like to have, by the 40s, I'd really like to have it down. The 30s would be nice, but the 20s, I'm kind of thinking the 20s are probably not going to happen. But hey, whatever happens, happens, and that's like a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to be chill about things. I'm not trying to be like all uptight, because I'm just gonna lose it then. I'm already kind of like a little bit uptight and crazy. So there needs to be like, okay, this is okay. It's an idea. It will be implemented at some point in the future. It's a great idea. Get excited about it. But I'm not going to put this giant pressure on myself to like, it has to be done now. It has to be perfect now. There's all kinds of things that are going to take a lot of time to refine in this series, Car Rides Wit Schlaw. This is far from my best work, and much later, I think the later episodes are presumably going to be a lot better once I kind of get the system down and everything. Even today, my intro was a bit odd. because I had to do all this rigging with the rubber band tying around the plosive filter, and it's like my first time doing the whole mic thing. It's stressful. It's not like a routine yet that I really have down. I'm trying to reposition it further away from my mouth, hoping that will help, because I don't really have experience working with these kind of microphones. I'm obviously used to a desktop professional microphone, but I'm not used to a lav or lavalier style mic, which this isn't a lav, it's like a headset kind of thing, but it's very similar to a lav. I assume it's basically a lav in a headset form factor, as opposed to the lav as an individual little spec that you can put wherever you want. I thought this would make a lot of sense, and I think it does. It's a very convenient format for where I think I'm going to be recording a lot. It is nice though. I do like it. And yeah, I don't know what else there is to really talk about. No, of course I have things to talk about. My album, May 29 Meta, is dropping tomorrow. I don't know if I called it May 29 Meta or May 29th Meta. I'm unsure of what my final decision was with that, but that's something, so the title's something like that. And it's dropping tomorrow at 7 a.m. It should be up. And we are very excited for that. Now I guess my excitement's dwindling in this moment, because I don't know if it's going to be up instantly, even though I have it set to 7 a.m. We'll have to see, because this is the first time I'm doing like set it at a specific time and a specific day. I usually just push it through and it just kind of releases whenever. So I'm pretty excited though, because it has been, believe it or not, 4 years since I have dropped a legitimate project, which is startling to say the least. But it's more of an EP. It's not really an album. I wouldn't consider it an album. I'd consider it like an EP. I just wanted to push something out, to have some kind of new music out. But I guess I should really be working on an album, shouldn't I? But I'm not really sure if I'm gonna have like the same time as I usually do, because not only now do I work, but I'm also trying to keep up with making more podcast style content, as I do think that is kind of my main strength that I've been severely underutilizing this whole time. And so I do want to still make music, but it's got to be, I have to focus on my main art, which is speaking, or I think it's speaking. That's always what people have told me. That's always, maybe it just took me a while to believe it, but I was always like stuck on this music thing. But I don't know, I think I'll be successful musically though. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to like let my fans down or anything, but I just think it is what it is, and that's that, right? Now I'm noticing the microphone stopped working, so that is really disappointing. I'm not sure what happened, but it's no longer registering a signal. So I'm not really sure what's going on. I guess I should just stop the recording and start it up. Well, I'm gonna have to like unplug it and plug it back in. I'm not really sure. Like, yeah, no, it's not picking up. I wonder if there's something wrong with it. I didn't notice that this morning though. This morning the recording came out fine. So it's a little bit odd. And yeah, I mean, I guess we'll try it like this. I don't know. It's getting very frustrating and sloppy. I apologize, but there could be something wrong with it. Anyways, I do remember now what I was thinking of. I think something that this whole experience has made me kind of take into account is that I was always kind of a believer in environment being the main determiner of, success, happiness, all that stuff. And I still agree with that. I think I still agree with that premise. Like, I do think that environment truly does play like this overarching role in a person's success. It really is. I mean, it's a gift to have had the upbringing that I had, and most people I don't think do, and it definitely could have affected where I got to now. And I think a lot of times it's very hard for people to see what they have, and a lot of people don't understand the privilege that they do have, right? It's just something that doesn't really add up to a lot of people, I think. And something that my dad always said, because my dad was always like a firm believer in it's the person, you have to do it, you have to want to do it. And he wasn't really too into that like idea of environment being the shaper. Now, I think that environment still is the primary shaper. I don't know that my mind is really going to be able to be changed about that fact. And I still think it's true. However, I do realize now, I think I've been realizing even in the past couple months that obviously there is also a genetic privilege. And I guess that still sort of counts as environmental, because it's like the body you're born into is absolutely a privilege, at least in my eyes. I don't really think that's something anybody should take for granted. It's something I definitely took for granted and never really thought about. But yes, the body you're born into, I think, counts as environment. I don't think that I am my body. I think that my consciousness is separate from that, and that I just happen to be put here, if that makes any sense. I don't know, is this too much for daytime television? Is this too much for daytime TV? But here's like the thing. The main thing is that I have had... Alright guys, sorry about that. I accidentally ran out of storage, which I really didn't think was going to happen. I'm kind of confused about how that even happened. I'm hoping that the other mic is working and I can splice together kind of what happened, but I'm very confused about that, because I don't know. I've only recorded, this is only the third, I guess the fourth. Yeah, I don't know. I really just wasn't expecting that. I thought I had enough storage. Wow, that was very stressful and embarrassing. Back to what I was talking about. Now notice, I've definitely changed a lot as a person, because I would really, really be spazzing out and probably throwing a tantrum right now. But I know there's I don't know. I guess I'm just different now, because I definitely used to get really upset over things not working like that, but I'm not going to worry about it. We're going to try to figure it out. I just hope I didn't quickly delete a car ride with Schla that I haven't backed up yet. And I'm starting to realize that I could have, and that all right guys, time for take 3. So I deleted a 40-minute video, and I thought that would again have freed up enough storage for me to continue to record, but it still cut off the thing. That doesn't make any sense to me, because that freed up at least 2 or 3 gigabytes, and I just totally thought in my mind that it would just all be good, and apparently it wasn't. So, time for take 3, and take 3 is continuing what I'm talking about, which is the privilege of environment also being you and therefore your free will or your willpower is kind of out of your control because it is genetic, but what you have in you is still environmental. Because we don't pick who we're born as, so it's technically a part of your environment. And obviously there's a lot of people who aren't very aware of this, and I think it leads to, you know, a pretty big disconnect between people who do have good minds, good bodies, etc., versus people who don't. I think a lot of people really do take things just that for granted. And I was reflecting on this today, and I realized that, you know, these past couple years, I mean, I kind of believe in destiny or fate, so it was all part of the process. I'm not looking at it with a grumpy retrospect. I'm in retrospect just saying what could have been and maybe what should have been, if that makes any sense. I am not saying that I'm angry about what happened at all. I'm just so nervous. I may have just deleted like actual car rides with Schla. That's just crazy to me. We may have lost not one, but 2 actual episodes that I didn't back up. Because I'm trying to think about it, but I'm like not sure. Those may have been, wow. I cannot believe I just did that. I'm like in a moment of distress. It just happened because like I'm recording and it's saying I'm out of storage, and I'm so caught off guard by that because like I had really thought I freed it up like a lot. So I don't know why it's doing that. And I deleted one 40-minute video, and then allegedly it still cut me off. So then I just quickly deleted another one, and I just really hope that they were videos that I already have had backed up, and I'm not sure that they were. So that is very scary to me, but it's possible that it could be another lesson, because I think that's really what the whole experience is about, right? It's, as much as I love to create and stack content essentially and be able to look back and know that it happened, I think it is healthy and good also to be able to let go and know that, you know, glitches or weird stuff like that can happen, and then like it is what it is. There's not much I can really do about it. I think it's a good thing to learn and figure out in life, right? But there's a lot of stuff I'm definitely confused about right now. There's been all kinds of like odd, right? Because the mic wasn't really working. I still don't know if it's working. It's kind of looking iffy. And I know it worked completely fine this morning, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on with that. And I don't know, I guess we'll just have to trial and error it. But I was excited that today was going to be the moment where we finally had good audio, and it's not. Rewind to what I was talking about. I realized that so I was saying in retrospect, I don't say this with rage. I am saying it because I do believe in destiny. I do believe in fate. I think things that happen are probably put in motion to happen. I think that is a fair philosophy to have. I don't know if that philosophy is correct. I think I used to believe it more wholeheartedly, but now that I've gotten older, I actually probably have been thinking there could be a randomness to things as well. And I did not really used to think that. I used to think that everything was very calculated, but I guess with the way I've observed the world, it kind of seems difficult to believe that there is an objective reason for everything. I don't know that that's true. And that's kind of been a scary thing to contemplate. So I guess I'm agnostic to it at this point. Agnostic to whether everything happens for a reason, or maybe everything doesn't. Maybe not everything happens for a reason. But what I do know, now that I've done what I've done, is that there's been a lot of misery. And it's been a very sad time with a lot of lack of creativity and all kinds of stuff like that. And not getting anything done, miserable, sad. And the truth is, I just can't stop thinking about how I could have just lost. I think I did. Because if we're I feel like those are just going to be lost episodes now. That is so crazy. And I really thought, I just deleted a bunch of stuff. I don't know why it started doing that. I am at such a loss as to what is going on with that. Now anyways, I realized that there's something that I could have done this whole time, and you could argue it was environmental because things in my environment kind of put me into a strange, miserable place. Now, I think it was necessary for character development. I don't know that my content would have really been great necessarily, before now. But what I do think is that I did have an outlet this whole time, and I could have been pretty happy, but I wasn't. For whatever reason, I couldn't figure out to do this. I didn't know if it would be good or not, I guess. Events happened that caused me to not see it, I guess. And here we are, finally reaching a point of potential peace, which is pretty huge. It's pretty important to be here now, because it has been a lot of strange pain over things that I see now in retrospect I had the solution to all along. And to me, that's just strange. It's very strange that I couldn't see that. Because I had this as an outlet. I could have been making videos similar to this for a while. I don't know. Again, and it was probably necessary to go through character development, but I think that's something that is an important message for me to get out, that everybody has something. Everybody has something that's going for them, and you probably just don't realize it. And a lot of life, I think I'm aware of this, but I think a lot of people aren't, is just a ton of lost potential in so many huge ways. You have systems where everything is just out to exploit you. The late stage capitalism that we now live in is a huge product of that, where your society, your greater environment, does not want you to succeed at all. And they want you to get caught in addiction after addiction, in rut after rut, and be as dependent on the system as possible. And there's not much systematic setups in place to prevent this. And I don't even know how many people care or notice this stuff. It doesn't really seem like a lot of people do. A lot of people, there's a lot of noise that I think is distracting people. which is pretty a shame, I think. I think it's a shame how much noise people are dealing with and how tricky that is. Sorry, somebody like stopped and was making a turn, and I was very caught off guard by it. Anyways, it's yeah, the lack of awareness is not a good thing at all. And I don't know if it's going to change. Oh, I was going to say is everybody just takes advantage of whatever situation they're in. Like whatever comfort they have, they just grab it, and I don't really think people try to live in a way that is thinking of everybody. I think they just think of themselves and what they want and what they have, and they milk it, you know? That's kind of how I see most people. And I don't know that it's necessarily an evil person who thinks that way. I think some people just aren't aware. Some people don't have the awareness to unravel it. And I think it's always weird for me because, I mean, I think of things, and when I talk about them, I expect that older people, you know, I'll be around like adults. And when I say adults, because I'm in my 20s, I think of people who are like 50s or 60s. That's what I see adults. Or even their 40s, 50s, 60s are adults. I'll have an idea about something and I'll like mention it, and then people will be like, oh, I never thought of that. And I'm like thinking, I'm thinking they're definitely going to have thought of it. That's my thought process about it. I must be getting home I must be making crazy time. Unless I'm just disoriented from, because if I left it, no, I'm not making crazy. I'm so confused about that though, because if yesterday I left when I left, I'm getting home that doesn't add up, because I only left 20 minutes sooner, but I'm definitely going to get home, because I'm probably going to be home in 8 minutes ish, and that would be 25. And yesterday, no, I think it's actually normal. I think I'm just doing some miscalculus. Anyways, the silver lining is, because I do think this episode could be the worst, because I really got thrown off by not only the second mic not working, but me running out of storage, which there's really no excuse for. If I knew it was an issue, I would have done something about it. I've already deleted so much stuff. I also wish on iPhone you could do lower than 720p, because that would also fix the problem in a huge way, but they only let you do 720p 30. I would really rather it be 480 30, but Apple is not interested in letting you do that. So, yeah. But like I said, this will not be an issue anymore, because the new phone I'm getting will have tons of storage. So we will be at peace soon. Just need to make it through the rest of this week. We are almost there. Now, the issue with the microphone is a whole other case, because I may need to buy a new one, or it may be the interface. I have no idea. I don't know what's going on. And when I get home, I'm probably planning on testing that out. And yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to test out the mic, and I do want to record. I thought of this kind of last minute, so I don't know if I'm actually going to do it today, but I kind of want to. I'm going to record that video on that concept I briefly touched on, which is that podcasts and social media are changing the way our brains handle conversations. That was going to be the video. It was an idea I thought of in the last car ride with Schla, I believe. What I mean by last car ride with Schla, I don't think it was today's morning shift. I think it was yesterday's night shift. So, you know, the 2 episodes ago, I guess. And yeah, I'd thought of that concept, and I can't believe I didn't think of it before. And I do want to have some kind of a dialogue with that on the good mic. I think it's a good enough concept to warrant an entire video. I have one other video idea that I'm not going to disclose because I do want it to be more of a surprise, I suppose. Wow, that was like fire out of nowhere. I don't want to disclose, but because I want it to be a surprise, I suppose, right? Yeah. But yeah, I guess that's what I'm going to do. I'm also going to figure out the storage issue, and hopefully we can just make it through 2 more days, because that is all there is. Before, hopefully, the new phone will come and I can just get everything on there. I actually don't even know if we'll have to make it that long, because the phone should be here tomorrow, which means I only have to make it through 1 more day. So that's really a shame. That's really a shame that if I really lost 2 episodes, but I'm going to try to, you know, take a lesson from it. I feel like these glitches I'm running into, like, I'm not used to making content, so, and if I was, it's definitely like computer, and my computer would never have any storage issues, obviously. It's just because I haven't really been making content on a phone, and I don't even know how long since I've had to even be considering like storage issues. So it's just like a whole other world for me, because I'm so used to, I've only been working for a year, and before I was working, I was just always on the computer, so I didn't need to be thinking about like phone storage or things like that. So yeah, but I think we're just gonna have to play with it. It is what it is, even if I lost the episodes, and there's gonna be more episodes, you know, like I always have to kind of remind myself, yeah, just keep your head up, you know, don't get too upset. Don't get too upset over these little things. It's not worth it. And yeah, I've come a long way, because I think it honestly, I'm proud of myself for finishing, because that's obviously, you know, with such a sharp disappointment, I think I usually would have just spazzed out. I'm going to be honest. But I've come a long way, I think, with getting composure, keeping composure, you know, and I think that's a good step. But yeah, I guess that's evident of something. There's some art in that you guys are seeing, that I handled a problem, essentially, and kept a cool head. I think that could be pretty cool to see, even though I know it definitely affected the way I spoke and things like that. And yeah, I don't know. Now we are getting to the end of the video, so we are going to experiment with this idea of the TLDR Wit Schlaw. In today's episode, we briefly touched upon some recent understandings of things and dealing with hope and all this stuff. The microphone started bugging out, but I didn't spaz out, and that really ends it, to be honest. The microphones glitched out, but we didn't spaz out. Bam, title. The mic's glitching, but Schla no spazzing. Something like that. You know what I'm saying? I think that's solid. Schla out.